पाराशाय वचः सरोजममलम् गीतातगन्धोत्कचम् नानाख्यानककेसरम् हरिकथा सम्बोधनाबोधितम् लोके सज्जनषट्पदैरहरः ते पीयमानं मुदा भूयात् भारतपङ्कजं कलिमलप्रध्वंसि नः श्रेयसे मूकं करोति वाचालम् पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैः सर्वैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुः सुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः अथ तृतीयोऽध्यायः सञ्जय उवाच तं तथा कृपयाविष्टम् अश्रुपूर्णाकुलेक्षणम् विषीदन्तमिदं वाक्यम् उवाच मधुसूदन श्रीभगवानुवाच कुतस्त्वाकश्मलमिदम् विषमे समुपस्थितम् अनार्यजुष्टमस्वर्ग्यम् अकीर्तिकरमर्जुन क्लैब्यं मास्मगमः पार्थ नैतत्त्वय्युपपद्यते क्षुद्रं हृदय दौर्बल्यम् त्यक्तोत्तिष्ठ परन्तप अर्जुन उवाच कथं भीष्ममहं सङ्ख्ये द्रोणं च मधुसूदन इषुभिः प्रतियोत्स्यामि पूजार्हावरिसूदन गुरून् हत्वा हि महानुभावान् श्रेयो भोक्तुं भैक्ष्यमपीह लोके हत्वार्थकामांस्तु गुरूनिहैव भुञ्जीय भोगान् रुधिरप्रदिग्धान् न चैतद्विद्मः कतरं नो गरीयः यद्वा जयेम यदि वा नो जयेयुः यानेव हत्वा न जिजीविषामः तेव स्थिताः प्रमुखे धार्तराष्ट्राः कार्पण्यदोषोपहतः स्वभावः पृच्छामि त्वां धर्मसम्मूढचेताः यच्छ्रेयस्यान्निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधि मां त्वां प्रपन्नम् न हि प्रपश्यामि ममापनुद्यात् यच्छोकमुच्छोषणमिन्द्रियाणाम् अवाप्य भूमावसपत्नमृद्धम् राज्यं सुराणामपि चाधिपत्यम् सञ्जय उवाच एवमुक्त्वा ऋषिकेशम् गुडाकेशः परन्तपः न योऽस्य इति गोविन्दम् उक्त्वा तूष्णीं बभूवः तमुवाच ऋषिकेशः प्रहसन्निव भारत सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये विषीदन्तमिदं वचः श्रीभगवानुवाच अशोच्यानन्वशोचस्त्वम् प्रज्ञावादांश्च भाषसे गतासूनगतासूंश्च नानुशोचन्ति पण्डिताः न त्वेवाहं जातु नासम् न त्वं नेमे जनाधिपाः न चैव न भविष्यामः सर्वे वयमतः परम् देहिनोऽस्मिन् यथा देहे कौमारं यौवनं जरा तथा देहान्तरप्राप्तिः धीरस्तत्र न मुह्यति मात्रा स्पर्शास्तु कौन्तेय शीतोष्णसुखदुःखदाः आगमापायिनो नित्याः तांसि तिक्षस्व भारत यं हि न व्यथयन्त्येते पुरुषं पुरुषर्षभ समदुःखसुखं धीरं सोऽमृतत्वाय कल्पते नासतो विद्यते भावः नाभावो विद्यते सतः उभयोरपि दृष्टोऽन्तः त्वनयोस्तत्त्वदर्शिभिः अविनाशि तु तद्विद्धि येन सर्वमिदं ततम् विनाशमव्ययस्यास्य न कश्चित् कर्तुमर्हति अन्तवन्त इमे देहाः नित्यस्योक्ताः शरीरिणः अनाशिनो प्रमेयस्य तस्माद्युध्यस्व भारत य एनं वेत्ति हन्तारम् यश्चैनं मन्यते हतम् उभौ तौ न विजानीतः नायं हन्ति न हन्यते ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः.
The next two mantras are from the Kathopanishad. And what does the Kathopanishad say? Same thing, in a slightly different way. Hanta chet manyate hantum, ataschet manyate hatah, ubhautau na vijanitah, etc. etc. And then the next one, najayate mriyate va vipaschit. That is what Kathopanishad says. The vipaschit has now become kadachit. But please get your text from there. Yeah. It is provided there. Please get. So, na jayate mriyate ya va vipaschit. And here that vipaschit, poor vipaschit has been made kadachit. Kadachit means at any time. Vipaschit means the knower, the wise person. So it's just put slightly differently. But these two verses are what? They are from the Kathopanishad. And why is Bhagavan having to quote the Kathopanishad? Because there was a discussion, all because of that one word Adi Shankara says. What is that word? In the last mantra, in the last verse, what was that word? Having to do with Pramana. No, having to do with Pramana. What sounds like Pramana in the last word? Aprameya. Aprameya, not an object of Pramana. And even it's not an object of Shruti. Being self, what? Self-evident. It's not even an object for the Shruti to establish. It's already established. It is about the already established Atma. There are so many problems, and those problems are going to be warded off. And what are those problems? Shoka, Mohadi. Shoka, Moha, Bhaya. These are the problems, not because the Atma is not evident. Atma is evident. It's evident enough to make a mistake. Just evident enough to make a mistake. I am. Are you here? Yes. Don't ask the next question. Who are you? Oh, give me a box of Kleenex first, then I will answer the question. How much time you got? Then I will tell you. What are you? Oh, my life story is very complicated. I've had a hard life. Shall I begin with this life or last life? This is the question. And so, therefore, that is where the mistake happens. The self-revealing Swata Siddha I has gone, is free enough to come to wrong conclusions about itself. We saw that yesterday. And then what happens? As a result of that, the person suffers from these myriad of samsaric tendencies such as shoka, moha, bhaya, all these problems. Now, since that word aprameya was used in the last verse, and what is that aprameya? How does Shruti establish it? That which is not even established by the Shruti. And now Bhagavan Krishna wants to bring in the Shruti, Adi Shankara says, just as a witness of him being Bhagavan. Because who else will Bhagavan? You can quote Bhagavan, but who will Bhagavan quote? Bhagavan has to quote Bhagavan. So he quotes himself from a different context. He says, as mentioned above, earlier, and he does this a lot in the Gita. Suddenly he'll quote the Upanishad. Sometimes without quoting the Upanishad, he quotes the Upanishad. Like in the beginning of chapter 4. Or even in the beginning of chapter 3. In the beginning of chapter 3, he says, Loke asmin dvividha nishtha maya prokta. I have already taught you that there are two ways of, two lifestyles, committed lifestyle. When did you teach? Pura, long ago. Where? Ishavasyopanishadi. In the Ishavasyopanishad. The two lifestyles first come there. So he says, I already taught you there. And then in chapter 4 also he does some number and he says, Bahuni me vyatithani janmani tavacharjuna. And then he says, you don't remember all of this. I remember everything. I know everything. I was there before. Then he says, how can I treat you? We know that you were born under Rohini Nakshatra. This Krishna's birth star. We know that you were born here. We celebrate your birthday every August. And then, it's called Janmashtami. And here you say that I was the witness of creation. How to do this? What are you saying? You say Pura Prokta. Pura, you were not there. what's his name? Arjuna calls him on it. But this is again to iterate what? That the Krishna of the Bhagavad Gita is not a human being teaching. It is Bhagavan. Whether you regard him as Bhagavan or not, he regards himself as Bhagavan. That is what is the most important thing of note here. And then, so therefore, he brings in to stand as witness what he is saying about the Atma thus far is the very same thing said by the Shruti. And he quotes Kathopanishad. Why? Because that was the book he had at hand. Other books were high up on the shelf. This was right there, so he just grabbed the Kathopanishad. Yes? No. Why does he quote Kathopanishad? Why not some other Upanishad?
It's about how discipleship.
No, not necessarily. It has Kathopanishad has lent itself, it has heavily influenced the Bhagavad Gita. It actually lends itself to the Gita in so many ways, not just these two verses. In so many ways, it lends itself. And primarily also because the Ratha Kalpana, what is Ratha Kalpana? The chariot imagery. And here also we have the chariot imagery coming to life. Krishna, as we saw in the story, what does he do? He becomes the Sarathi, the charioteer, the driver for Arjuna. And the 5 horses are the sense organs that keep wanting to graze on, exotic grasses like arugula and alpha, all these things. And then what? The reins. The reins is the first level of stopping, where the mind says, I think you have eaten enough. The mind will say that, Even in the person who has tried to shut down the mind will say, I think that's enough. I think you're overdoing this. And that's the first level of brakes, the reins. And the reins are held by the hand, which is what? We saw all this in Kathopanishad. Say yes. Yeah.
Yes.
So, yes, on the weekly Kathopanishad. You have already seen this. So, the buddhi is the second and the final resting place for all the ragadveshas. The buddhi manages the ragadveshas. The mind puts the brake on them and then hands it over, says, this is too much for me, you take care of it. So the buddhi is the final resting place for the ragadveshas, where the buddhi decides what to do. And the buddhi teaches the ahankara, sitting happily in the back and driving from the back seat. Ahankara is a back seat driver. Instead of sitting and enjoying the ride, oh, take a left, oh, what are you doing? Oh, isn't there a ditch? Oh, tries to control the whole vehicle, the body, mind, sense complex, from the back seat. And so this ahankara is taught, by the buddhi. That's why in the proper depictions, he's holding the reins but not looking at the horses. He's turning back to teach. So Bhagavan Krishna is the buddhi, that is in the heart, teaching this wayward ahankara, which has gone through 2 dips, sorrow dip and fear dip and delusion dip. Final, delusion topping, sprinkles. So this is the fellow, this is the fellow who is being thawed out by the teachings. So the Kathopanishad lends itself, and in fact the whole Gita, including the picture of the Bhagavan teaching the disciple Arjuna, is borrowed all from the Bhagavad Gita, Kathopanishad. And the Kathopanishad conveniently has 2 verses that make them completely battle ready. This one, ya enam vetti hantaram, yascha enam manyate hatam, ubhau tau na vijanitah, ubhau tau na vijanito, Nayam hanti na hanyate. Han, to kill. You can add a T, hun, to hunt, hunt down and kill. That's how to remember. Han means to kill. You know? And so, these two verses about have to do with killing, birth and death. In the Kathopanishad, is there any battle? No. Yet that verse comes. Let us see the meaning and then we look at it from the Kathopanishad and also from the standpoint of the Bhagavad Gita. Yaha, the one who, veti, with second conjugation, to know, veti, yaha, enam. Enam is who? The one that was prakritam, that was discussed in the last one as sharirin, who is in the sharira, not the sharira. The truth of the sharira. Who is the truth of the body? Atma. Yaha enam atmanam veti. Katham veti? Hantaram iti veti. Hantaram means the hantr. What does trich mean? Han plus trich. What is that? ER. Yeah. Agent. How do you make it into an agent? So kill plus agent, killer. Yeah. Hantr, hanta, hantarau, hantaraha. Second case, hantaram. Yaha enam, one who knows this Atma as a killer. Veti, yahacha. Yahacha means it may be the same first yaha or it could be anyapi, anya kopi, some other another yaha. One yaha says Atma is killer. You know, and another yaha says yaya and says no. Yaha, the second yaha says, what does the second yaha says? You know, yaha enam veti manyate considers man, fourth conjugation, considers hatam, already dead. So who is saying that? The one who is alive. The Atma is saying, the one who is alive is saying the Atma is dead. How many Atmas are there? We saw last time. One. So when you say, when someone says Atma is dead and they are alive to say it, that means it's not correct at all. So the one who says the Atma is the agent of killing, and if the Atma is killed, hataha, already dead by some other hand, because hataha is not just mritaha. Hataha is mritaha with a vengeance. So someone has actually acted upon this Atma to kill, to put it out of existence, literally. And so now here in the first yahaveti hantaram is in the sense of agent, and hatam is in the sense of
Second
object.
case.
Not second case. Past passive participle. Gone. Killed. Killed means object. In the sense of object it is used. So, ubhau tau, they both, tau, they, ubhau, both, poor things, they don't know. Na vijanitaha. And what do they not know? The truth of this Atma. Na ayam hanti. This does not kill. And then what? Na hanyate. Na hanti. Na hanyate. It's not killed. It doesn't kill. It is free of either being the, either being the object of killing, and na hanyate, it is not killed, it is not killed by anybody either. Passive, hanyate. So it is not killed and it is not the killer. This, this is what the Kathopanishad also talks about. And in the Kathopanishad there is no context of a war. There is no Kurukshetra in the Kathopanishad. It's a very peacetime teaching. It's not a wartime teaching. Here, in the Kathopanishad, there is just, Nachiketa listening to this, that's all. There is no battle, there is no war, inner war, outer war, nothing is there. And unlike Arjuna, Nachiketa is difficult to relate to by the mumukshus. Because, that much vairagya to have, it is kind of intimidating. But we all love Arjuna. He asks the same questions that we do, and he is eminently fallible, falls all over himself, doesn't understand, and then doesn't let go, keeps asking the same thing again and again. And we are familiar with that. Because if you analyze some of the satsang questions, they are the same ones. Not only the questions are the same, the questioners are also the same. The same people ask the same questions in a different context. Yeah, they just change the flower arrangement a little bit. Maybe the chocolate prasad is different, and then the questions are the same. So that's why we love Arjuna. So the context is very different. There, Nachiketa, serious student and didn't want anything at the age of 8, and he had not seen anything. He was able to give up everything without even seeing it. He said, I have seen enough. Here Arjuna keeping on arguing with Bhagavan and wanting this, wanting that, and so many things. So the context is very different. But Bhagavan seems to see that these two verses were made for the Bhagavad Gita. Why? Because it speaks to the battle. The embattled situation in which Arjuna finds himself. It speaks to that in a very relevant way. And what is Arjuna feeling right now? I am the killer, potential killer of Bhishmadayah. Bhishma, etc. Starting with Bhishma, because we start with him because he is the eldest and the most loved. And starting with Bhishma, I am the one their lives are hanging in my balance. Their lives are hanging at the tip of my arrows. And when I, Visrishtam Banam Maya, by me, if the arrow is released, that means what? I get the epithet of being the killer. Of who? Bhishma, Drona, all these people. These stalwarts, these elders, uncles, teachers, grandfather, I am the killer. And in addition, his depression, in addition to being depression, seems to have some roots in this feeling of guilt. What is guilt? Kartritvam. Guilt is kartritvam. Doership is guilt. When one suffers from one's own omissions and commissions, it is called guilt. What is one's own omissions and commissions? The identity with one's own commissions and commissions. I am as good as what I have done. This is what the Upanishad says. Kimaham sadhuna karavam. Why didn't I do the right thing? Kimaham papam karavam iti. Why did I do the wrong thing iti? This is what Upanishad says. This is the lament of the one who has, who needs this knowledge. This is the person who needs the knowledge, not someone else, Because if one is ignorant of ignorance, then you don't need this knowledge. You can't enjoy it either. And who are those people? We have talked about them before. Those that go from malls to balls. Yeah. Those are the people. How do you spell mall? M-A-U-L. Mall. Because you go there and get mauled out of your money. This is what it is. So those who go to malls and balls, they don't see that there is anything even wrong. And they in fact come and tell you, what's wrong with you? You keep, going to classes as though your life, it is your lifeline. As though your life is depending on it. And that too, how many classes every day? What's wrong with all of you? Come, one class, if you miss, what will happen? Nothing will happen. No, actually nothing will happen. You'll keep missing more, that's all. So, That's what will happen. But so the argument is that what is your problem? This is what it is. So many times people who come to the ashram have been asked, when I was in Georgia, they were asked this a lot of times. You are happily married from what I know, one person was told. And you have wonderful children, they are all earning nicely and everything is so wonderful. Why are you going to the ashram? Do you have any secret sorrow? That's the idea, that's the wrong thinking. That you don't have any reason to be sad. You are fine. Yeah, small ups and downs in everybody's life will be there. Yes, sometimes one is bad, one is mad, one is sad. No big deal. Deal with it. How? Go to the mall, I told you. Yeah, deal with it. Go to the mall, go on a holiday, change the house, change the curtains and change the carpets, change the furniture around, some change. Yeah. Get a makeover, go to Florida and then come back. More changes. And then it becomes more tolerable. Nothing is wrong. The problem is not with me. The problem is with a neighbor. The problem is with you. And you keep going to the ashram like this and keep listening to Vedanta, it's giving me a complex. Therefore, I need to not see you so often. This is what happens. Because when one person, when one person decides to take the leap, what is that? Leap of Shraddha, leap of faith. Then, like the dog is famous for not letting the master go out of sight. Because the dog has a feeling, I'm here to guard this person. The master doesn't feel he or she needs to be guarded at all. But the dog is convinced I have to sit right in front of, make sure that they are right in front of me. Because in the last life, the last word that the dog heard before its death in the past life was stay. And that has that has stayed with it. Even in this life, that vritti of guarding the master just stays there. And if you have 3 or 4 dogs, I don't know why, but if supposing someone has 3 or... Just now when I came down, I saw somebody walking 4 dogs at once, two in each hand. So if you have 3 or 4 and all of them are sitting, imagine. And if you try to go out, they grab the pant leg, they grab the leg, they grab your clothing because they don't want you to leave. This is how dogs are. And this is a kind of an upalakshana for samsara. The dog. Yeah. It is upalakshana for samsara. Benign, loyal. Correct? The dog is benign, loyal, harmless. Takes its loyalty over seriously to become codependent because of that loyalty. And then holds back the person who is wanting to go on their own, path. So the samsara is dogged like this. Yes. If one person goes and starts to study this, everybody else, starting with the family members, first the blood pressure goes up. And then the barometer goes up. Then the temperature, mental temperature, emotional temperature goes up. Because the feeling is, this is exactly the verse that no one wants you to study. This one. Yeah. This one alone. Other things they are not worried about. Go learn about dharma. Go learn how to, be a good spouse. That will benefit me. Go learn how to do your duty. Go learn how to do your duty. That will also benefit me because I am your duty. And go learn how to, how to make more money. That will also benefit us. So things like that you go learn about dharma and, some puja, all these things. That's why ashrams that teach puja are very popular. This is the place everybody can go get some blessings, and some blessing Amma will be there, or Appa, whoever it is, and Baba, somebody will be there and they will bless. Once I was teaching in the temple in DC, and right next door somebody came, some Baba came, and I don't know if the Baba knew this or not, but the devotees were charging $250 per head to have darshan.
Oh.
And we had a break in the class, and suddenly everybody disappeared because they thought Baba has come next door. There are two rooms, so in one room I was teaching, and in the other room Baba was giving darshan. I don't know the name. And so everybody in the break, usually they just hang out, have tea, go do darshan upstairs. But here something new had come. Everybody rushed over there. And I said, where did everybody go? Usually people sit and ask questions. Where did everybody go? Oh, next door Baba is giving darshan. I said, theek hai, let them get blessings and come back. Then everybody immediately came back with long faces, angry faces, really upset. I said, what happened? Did you not get darshan? No, he's charging. They are charging $250 even to look at him, to go in and even to go inside the room. And if you stand outside and try to look at him, they shoo you away from there. So you see, such things are very popular. Some puja, yajnas, very popular for the, if you want to know why they are popular, catch up with the morning, today and last weekend morning classes. They'll tell you why they are popular. Because they are all focused on ends within samsara. And they are all focused on ends, where the agent of action is kept in place. The jnata, knower, pramata, the karta, the bhokta are kept in place. And with them in place, then the other things can just be a little bit of moksha. You sprinkle moksha. Like, chutney powder, That's what it is. You can't have too much because it's full of salt and spice, and it's concentrate. So moksha is like that. It's very concentrated. You can only tolerate it in small amounts. And so keeping everything status quo. And what is the status quo? Nothing in my life should change. But I should be enlightened. Nothing in my life should change. Everything should be business as usual. Everything should be exactly intact. I should just have a topping called moksha, a sweet, unctuous topping. That's all. Moksha is an add-on. Everything else should be as usual. How is that possible? That's why Bhagavan does not wait till the middle of the Bhagavad Gita to give this. He gives it in, within 10 verses when the teaching starts. Teaching starts at the 11th verse. You should not grieve. And he says, Na shochitum arhasi. You should not, you don't deserve to grieve. He uses the word should not. You must not grieve. Why? Because you're not an agent of anything. This is what the thing is. And this is exactly what the society, in the form of the dogs, the dogged society of loyal following that everybody has. Everybody has a following. Yeah. Everybody has a following. What is that called? There is one word for it. One girl asked me, are you part of my A team? I said, what is this A team? A team is the people that you call in an emergency and they will come no matter what, close to you. And B team, like bees they skirt around, little less. C team even further, D team. So like this you have this gradation of circles of friends, followers, people who are devotees, devoted to you, ityadi, ityadi, ityadi. These are the people. Now, the thing is that all of them have a stake in perpetuating ajnanam. Not because they want to. In fact, they are also mumukshus. They may not be jignasus, but they are mumukshus. But they have a stake in perpetuating your ajnanam. Why? Because they are afraid, for a number of reasons. Some of them know exactly what it is and they are afraid you will get ahead. That they will be left behind. Some of them don't know what it is, but still they are afraid because somewhere deeply they are strangely intuitive and they say, oh, this sounds dangerous. This has overtones of danger. When yet others, they don't know what it is, they don't want to find out, but they are not interested in it and they are hell-bent on not letting you be interested in it either because they are bored without you. So they want you to be sitting there, Yeah, that's all it is. I can't enjoy it, so why should you enjoy an activity that I can't enjoy? I can't enjoy it, I could care less about it, so why should you go? So various reasons. This kind of this guarding the person from moksha, like the dog. That's why another avatara of the teacher, Dattatreya, the three faces, the very beautiful. He is also an avatara of the teacher. Dattatreya he got the face of Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, etc. Sannyasi avatara carries a kamandalu and he has 3-4 dogs around him. He is the overlord of the doggedness of samsara. Very beautiful. Dog means domestication. Dog represents domestication, and the domestication of what? The domestication of this karta. This is what is the problem. And how is the karta domesticated? The karta is domesticated by making it a reality. It is here to stay. Here you come, you go, you eat. I eat, I drink, I look, I listen. I am the doer. I am the karta of all the actions, from eating, drinking, sleeping to even difficult actions like analyzing and etc. And so the society doesn't want this I to be displaced, not the Atma. The karta, bhokta, pramata, jnata, I. Why? Because the people in the society have they variously relate to this pramata, this knower, this being that they think is you, and up till now you also thought was you. They relate to this being. And they are attached to that form of relationship. And they will not relate in any other way. So if you start to question the karta, then what happens? Their world gets destabilized. Their world includes you. That's what each one's jagat. Their jagat includes you. Your jagat includes their body, mind, sense complex. And not just body, mind, sense complex with ahankara, the cherry on top. Yes. This is what it is. So that's why this verse here gains a, is very important, gains a greater salience in the light of this discussion, both in the Kathopanishad and in the Bhagavad Gita, because this is the crux of the teaching. All other things, self-shining, Atma, and Atma is, what is that, Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, all that is wonderful. But it boils down to what? From the Tvam-pada, from the standpoint of where I locate the I, what is this I? And the I is hitched its ratha, its wagon to the doer. And here it is negated. You are not karta. This is half the problems in life. All guilt, all sense of regret, guilt, second guessing, self-confidence issues, self-esteem issues, fear, moha, shoka, all this can be traced to the karta. Because who is the one who says I am afraid? Karta. Who is the one who says I am guilty? Karta. Who is the one who says I have regrets? Karta. All can be traced to the one who owns up the actions. How? It's okay to own up the actions. But the one who owns up the action as aham idam. Who is this idam? Karta. Is karta idam or aham? Is karta idam or aham? Idam means this. Aham means I. We have lots of time. Decide and tell.
Idam.
Aham or idam?
Karta is this, it's not I. In this
Yeah.
context.
Yeah, this idam pratyaya vishaya, not aham pratyaya vishaya. Yeah. It's never aham. If it feels like aham, we have to first to see that it is not. Idam. Why? Can you observe the doer or not? Can you?
Yes. Yes.
With difficulty, once in a while, with great difficulty, after a lot of ayasa, I think I'm observing the doer. But you can still observe. Yeah. Even if you cry while observing, you can still observe the doer, correct?
Yes.
That's why you ask, what am I doing? When you say, what am I doing? You are observing the doer. And when you regret, why did I do this? Was I out of my mind? You are observing the doer of the past. Oh, I'm scared. What am I going to do? You are observing the potential doer, not the potential mood, but the potential doer. The doer wannabe. Oh, I wish I could do this. You are observing the doer, the desiderative doer. You can put any, grammar there. And it will all be you observing the doer. Oh, so I can observe the doer? Yes. I can observe the thinker too, that means? Yes. The problem is that the doer gloms on to the I. I is not glommed on to the doer. The doer represents the sum total, carries the weightage. That's why it is so difficult. Carries the weightage of the sum total of all the relationships in society that are important to you. They translate into the doer. How? How do they translate into the doer? Think about it. All the things that are people that are important to you, how do you relate to them? What is the basis of the relationship?
Transaction, which is
Transaction.
karma.
What is transaction? Action. Forget the trans. Action. Through action. Who is doing the action? The actor. Who is the actor? Aham. You see? So the whole empirical reality, your own world is based on reproduction of action, half of that world, and the other half of the world is what? You are the target of other people's actions. This is all it is, sum total. How do you relate to others? Through action. So really speaking, if you are sitting here questioning the actor, it becomes very scary for everyone else. Oh, now the person is going to studying Vedanta and they are questioning the actor, which means I have to start acting out. So that I can keep their actor in place. So the whole, what you call relationship, what one calls a relationship is nothing but each one trying to keep the other actor in place. Just like you do with a dog. Sit. Roll over, rolls over. Stand, stand. Go bring the shoes, brings the shoes. Bring the newspaper, eats it on the way but brings it. And the dog, you think you are training and controlling the dog. The dog thinks of you as a treat thrower. And the dog has a little conference with other dogs. Woof, 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 woof. And they all say we need to train our treat throwers better. You know? Don't sit when they first say sit. Why should you sit? Let them say 3-4 times, let them give the treat before, then sit. And if there is no treat in the hand, don't waste your time sitting. Let them go get it. So who is training who? Who is training who? Are you training the dog or is the dog training you? Cat, let's not even bring the cat into the picture. The cat thinks of the human being as a extra large automatic can opener. You know, that's all it is. There is nothing else. At least dog there is some transaction. If you want to learn how to be akarta, study the cat. Yeah, it has no guilt. Zero guilt. And it pretends not to be hurt. You know, it transcends it very quickly. So therefore, this is something. So if you look at this whole situation, the whole gamut of your relationship, all your relationship are based on empirical actions and expectations. Because the actions are freely given. Yes, you can make a nice dinner for somebody because you love them. Nothing wrong. It's freely done. But the actions are backed by expectations on part of the receiver. And the giver, since the giver and the I have glommed on to each other, not each other, since the giver has glommed on to the I-ness, the I nature, identifies itself as the doer, in this case the giver starts to feel nervous about giving. Okay, don't give. Oh, how not to give? If you're so nervous, don't give. No. I would like to give because they expect it. Okay, then give. No, but what if I make a mistake? This is what it is. One is stuck. And one cannot move. One is stuck in a place of stagnation. One cannot move forward and complete the action freely. It's like an acting block. You know, writer's block? This is an actor's block. Acting block. And one cannot step away from the action and say, this is too much, I'm going to let this go. One is stuck there. And that stuckness is the basis of shoka. This is where Arjuna is. Cannot move forward and say, okay, off with your heads, done, this is what I came here to do, and cannot retreat either. Because if he could have retreated, he would have, but something stops him. Instead of running away, he sits in the chariot, miserably. You see? Tushnim, uktva tushnim, babhuva, rathopa vishat. You know? In the ratha he slumps down. And so this is that place of stagnation, which is the crux of shoka and moha together. If shoka and moha had a crossroad, that would be stagnation. That would be this place. And these are the only two, this is the only verse that if it is understood correctly, it can bring one out of the state of stagnation. Samsara is this frequent stagnation where one doesn't like what one is doing and one will not stop. Only in samsara, where else? One cannot stand what one is doing and one will not stop either. We will keep complaining. Oh, you should see my marriage. Oh, you should see my children. Oh, they don't listen to anybody. They happen to be 49 and a half, but that's okay. You know? Indian parents, they don't listen to anybody. Oh, horrible. My house is terrible. My job, horrible. The pay, terrible. The boss, disgusting. The work hours, grueling. And the neighbors, noisy. Will complain about everything and everybody also. All right, just pack up everything, end the marriage, change the neighborhood, go to an ashram. Oh no, how I can do that? I have duties. All right, perform your duties cheerfully. No, you should come to my life and see what it is. Then you will stop talking about cheerful. The moment you step into my house, you will stop being cheerful, I guarantee you. So many duties. And they keep saying duty. You know, even after they have lost their teeth, they keep lisping duty. 92, what duty do you have? No, duties are important. First is a son duty, daughter duty, and then what? You know, spouse duty, difficult duty. And then father duty, mother duty, neighbor duty, friend duty, employer duty, employee duty, duty, more duty, even more duty. And then what? Grandfather duty, grandmother duty, slowing down. And then what? Great grandfather duty, great grandmother duty. Cardiac arrest. Yes. But the duty sense never goes. This is in the Vedika life, but it's not any better in the West. It's the same. Human beings are same everywhere. Everywhere they are the same. That's why this is universal. Don't think that, by migrating to China, there will be no kartritvam. There will be Chinese kartritvam. Yeah. It will just kartritvam with soya sauce. That's spiced differently. This is Chinese kartritvam. There also is a sense of duty. In addition to other duties, there is state duty. Yeah, there's all these big time duties. They're very national. Yeah. So all these things are there. And so this duty, this concept of duty, and even in the West, even though that concept of duty is not there overtly, covertly the person says, I'm the doer. Without me, nothing clicks, nothing runs. Try me, see, even if I go away for 5 minutes, see. This is ahankara in a different avatara, that's all. Yeah. Like Rama, Krishna, Balarama, all these things, Parashurama, all these avatars, this is ahankara. Ahankara in a different, Amerikara, that's all it is. American ahankara. Yeah, I did everything very well, and I'm the best, east or west. And nationally this ahankara operates like, we are going to show those uncivilized people over there. We are going to bring democracy to the whole world, as though we were waiting for you to bring. The Greek had it, even before you could say goo goo gaga, Yeah, even before you were born. Even as you were just sucking your thumb, great civilizations like Mesopotamia, Greece, etc., Indian civilization, all these civilizations had, like the Indus Valley civilization had internal plumbing. They are finding out. And they had multi-story structures. They had internal plumbing and attached bathrooms. When? 10,000 years ago. And here the person thinks, oh, we know how to build attached bathrooms. Yeah. Big deal. Stop being so attached to your bathroom. Then we will see if there is some progress. So here there is another different kind of a doership. This is what is called the Protestant work ethic. That is the doership. Yeah, everybody made noises. So you understand what I am saying. Yeah, that is the duty thing. It is this do or die, doomsday wala thing. And the sociologist Max Weber talks about this Protestant work ethic. And he says this is not good news. Why? He says it leads to another concept that he derives is called routinization, where one gets totally bored with life and keeps wanting a change. Change the house, that didn't work. Change the spouse, that also didn't work. Change the mouse, computer mouse. And, and still one feels like a louse. What to do, after changing everything, one is still feeling bad. This is what is it. So this is, whether you call it, soya sauce duty with soya sauce, Chinese duty, or you call it Protestant work ethic, or you call it some other, some other country, some other way of doing. Everyone, who is born with this ignorance, self-ignorance. And the ignorance shows its first face, first avatara of ignorance is being attached to the sense of doing and being attached to the wrong identity of oneself as the doer. This is universal. Yeah. That's all it is. Whether you think of duty with a little MSG on top, or whether you think of duty with, with some other, with coleslaw, it's still duty. That sense of doership is dogged. And the society reproduces your doership because the society convinces you. Who is this you? The ignorant ahankara is convinced that I am born to contribute, and I have not just contribute, I am born to do. That's why it's do or die. This is what it is. And so the society convinces you of this, which you happily internalize, which one happily internalizes because it is in keeping with that self-ignorance. And what is the sad outcome of this? The sad outcome is that one is sad. That's why it's called sad outcome. But do you see the connection between the doership and the keeping the ahankara in place, keeping the everything in place? Do you see why the knowledge does not go beyond the skin? It is always skin deep. Why? Because one is not ready to dislodge this ahankara as the doer. This is what the problem is. And this is very confusing. I'm not doing anything? No. I didn't cook today? No, you didn't cook. Then who made the food? And we have a convenient answer. What do we say? Bhagavan. That is why karma yoga is not karma yoga unless you bring in the stand-in of Bhagavan. Because you need someone to a pair of feet to surrender the doership. And it looks silly to just have a pair of feet, so you build the whole thing from foot downwards, upwards. So that's why Bhagavan in our tradition becomes an altar of surrender we keep hearing. What is this altar of surrender? Surrender of what? This doership. I am not the doer, I am not the giver, I am not the eater, I am not the receiver, I am not, I'm not any of these. I am not the thinker. So therefore then it is confusing. Then you look around, who to blame? If I didn't do this, who did this? Because the general human tendency is, if something goes well and if somebody asks who did it, many pairs of hands will be raised. Everyone will say me. Oh, this is a terrible thing. Who made it? Not me. Then you look around. Who to make into the goat? What kind of goat? Scape. Yeah. Scape is short for escape. Yeah. Who to make the goat and escape? That is what it is. So therefore, this doer cannot be in place along with the knowledge. The knowledge is that which strangles the doer and gives it a proper interment. This is what it is. This is what the force of this teaching is. The doer is problematic not only because of the individual sense of stagnation with regard to the wrong idea that one is the doer. The doer notion, as long as it stays, is problematic because it connects you to various codependent connections in society that one needs to outgrow. Now I am even more confused. Why are you confused? Well, I am confused. First you say I am not doing anything. Now this is very problematic. Then who is doing? You say Bhagavan. All right, fine. The next confusion is, if I am not doing anything and if I am not, if I am not the doer, then why do I feel bad? Why am I feeling bad? Because one is connected to the doer of the past. What is the past other than doership? If you take away doership, is there a past? No, there is no repast, there is no past. What is the future if there is no doership? Because when you go daydreaming into the future, what are you really thinking? Think about it. Tomorrow I am going to do this. Oh, when I win the lottery, wait and see what I am going to do. And then you have a visualization of yourself carrying a truckload of money, standing at the street corner and distributing it to the people going by. And then, you know what? The reverie is broken. The reverie or revelry is all connected with the doer. And this doer is now about to be dislodged. Oh, right now? No, you can keep it for one more day. Tomorrow it will be shaken up by the caller. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Fun, no? God, so fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lloyd Vijay.
Yeah. Vijaya?
And Lloyd.
So isn't that another way of shirking responsibilities? I mean, I understand that one should not feel like a doer, but
Yeah.
vyavaharically one does something
Yeah.
out of line, suppose.
Out of?
Line.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
from the lowest possible
Right.
misdemeanor to something really wrong. Then one can just wash hands off and say, I'm not the doer. and
Yeah, that's why
at once-
we don't teach this to people without dharma. Dharma, that's why moksha is the final purushartha. What comes first? Dharma. If you teach this in prison, Gita in prison, first you have to teach dharma, then you can go to teach Gita. Otherwise this will be there. For every person who is a serial offender will feel very thrilled. I am not the doer. Because the dharma should be there. When the dharma is there, then this is not an issue. Yeah.
When the little things that, suppose I make some mistake,
Yeah.
vyavaharically,
Yeah.
then I'm not supposed to feel guilty then?
Exactly. Yeah. Not supposed to. You grow out of it. Yeah. If you feel guilty, that is something to look at. That is something to work with. That is something to eventually know that is connected to the doer. And you can allow it to drop, because that guilt, where to take it? At the foot of Bhagavan. Yeah. Bhagavan foothills. You take it to the Bhagavan and you say, you take care of it. That is why we need an overdose of Bhagavan in the life. And in India we know this, because you go to somebody's house and they make make all these things to welcome you, and then you say, oh, you have really cooked very well, and they will say, Bhagavan's grace, Guru's grace. Inside they'll be feeling very happy. Yeah, I made a good, I'm getting appreciated. But what will they overtly say? It's because of Bhagavan's grace I was even able to do it. Yeah.
So how do I know what action to take? For example, I get tired in my job. Should I continue to act in my job?
Yes, but it's not the job that is making one tired. What is making one tired is the connection to the doer as yourself, as oneself. That is what is making one tired. So one has to, this is the tiredness is a symptom. It's more like an invitation card. Your higher self, if I can use that word, your buddhi, your higher self is your buddhi. That Krishna, inner Krishna within you, has sent you an invitation card inviting you to sit with him and do some introspection about what is not in keeping with how this job is being performed. Am I taking on? Maybe you just need rest. Sometimes, maybe one needs rest. Sometimes it's nothing. Sometimes the body is only capable of so much, and certain bodies are capable of still less, and that is also an invitation card from Bhagavan to let go of the doer, let go of doing, and then let go of the doer. Now, it could just be that one needs rest. It could just be that one needs some vitamin B or some B complex or whatever it is. Maybe there is some deficiency. So all that it's an invitation to think about that. And if all those check out, and that's not the problem, but there is a feeling of boredom or feeling of stagnation, then I have to see, it is incumbent upon me to see what is the reason. So I have to connect to the job. It's an opportunity for me to connect to the job differently through some introspection. Because that is what we call routinization, the tiredness. This is what I talked about. Meaning you feel like you're in the daily grind. Like, again to go to work. The only thing that can change, the job won't change. Correct? Yeah. The pay certainly is not going to change. And the people most probably are not going to change. What can change? What's the only thing you can change? You. That's all. So that's why one is advised in the Bhagavad Gita later on to do every job as an act of prayer. And in prayer, one makes sure, you have the ghee lamp, you have the or candle, and then you have the light, and then you have the incense. You sit down quietly, you wash your hands, you're clean, you do pranayama, inner cleansing happens, and you sit quietly, and then you let go of all the whole day outside, or if you're thinking about what's to come ahead, you let go of that. And then from that place, you say, Namaha, I invoke you. Very carefully you say Namaha. Very carefully you bring everything together, and then you do an offering. You may put flour, you may put some dried nuts, fruits, whatever you have. It is called puja. The job, when it becomes puja, the doer dies. Doership dies. The job is converted into a daily prayer. So it's not that I pray on the job. I do the job prayerfully. It's not about what you do. It's about the attitude in which every job is done. So then prayerfully means with great care, with great attention. And it's not easy. It's not easy to put that attention. It's not easy to be mindful. It's not easy to learn to like what you have to do. But it's the only other option because there is no other option. Because you can't always do as you like. So you have to learn to like what you have to do. What one has to do, one learns to like, one learns to love. And it's a process. But delineating the separation from the doer, whenever there is stress, whenever there is fear, whenever there is stuck feeling, stagnation, whenever there is second guessing, know that the doer is in charge. And observe the doer. Let the doer sit and give the doer a pill called the chill pill. Yes. Chill the doer out. Stick the doer in the freezer and thaw them out slowly. That is why we are having this, because we are not expecting that as soon as we hear this verse, that all the doership is going to drop. That's not the idea. It's not that you stop doing. You stop identifying as I am the doer. The ahankara is lightened of the burden of doership. It's not that the ahankara is banished. No. The ahankara is lightened of the burden of doership. Burden of doership means identified with the doer. And when that happens, you can do many more things without getting stuck, without getting stressed. And so the fear of the society that you'll stop doing because you listen to this verse is really, unsubstantiated. It's just a fear. Nobody will stop doing. You'll continue to do. But in fact, you'll be more efficient. One will be more efficient. Because there's no, what is that? Raga Dvesha is pulling one for attention. Fear, stress, moha, all these things are not there. Tying one down. My own expectations of myself, other people's expectations of me, all this is what keeps the doer in place. So first the doer is offered to Bhagavan. You are the doer. Guide me. Be with me. Help me. This is what one, slowly it drops. Yeah. Anything else? Tatah kim. Major Govindam is that 6?
6 o'clock.
Wonderful. Very nice. I'm so happy.
Same thing.
Same thing?
It will
Means?
be the same thing. What we've just done.
Huh?
It's the verse is coming up. It's very
Yes.
much about the relationships. It's the
Which
family
was?
relationships. Number 7, I think it is. 6 and 7. I'm not remembering the whole verse. I've got it memorized.
Okay.
It's about all the family relationships.
That will be fun.